Won't hear us while we're doing this.
Hey everyone, and welcome to Superhero Speak. I'm your host Dave,
And John.
and JD was here. He's having technical difficulties. He will be here, I promise. He's on his way.
You people must love tuning in just to see what technical difficulties we are starting off with on these podcasts. It's just
Yeah.
I'm going to blame it on the fact that Alan Moore is tertiarily involved in what we're going to talk about for.
I'm going to say something while we're waiting for JD. Do you know today is 7 years ago today? We were at Amalgam Comics doing this in front of a live audience.
Oh, the Philly podcast.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you were
festival.
Kept drinking in front of everyone. Yeah.
We got to do that again. Yeah, what was that? It was Amalgam. We did it at the Tattooed Mom too, didn't we?
Right. Yeah, Amalgam closed down, so
oh, that's a shame.
Yeah, she wasn't doing well financially with it, so she closed it. Yeah, we'll do it again. I don't know. They stopped doing them during the pandemic, so I don't know when they're going to start them up again. They haven't announced anything. So
I still have my card. It's with my voice recorder.
So what's new with you, John? How was your week?
Well, look, aside from the other things I told you, they probably not appropriate for.
No, not appropriate for the
not
podcast.
even to insinuate that there are inappropriate things for. Oh, did I say it on air? No. Saw a good movie. I'm in the 300s for One Piece, so I'm.
Oh wow!
Fast. I'm going very fast through the different episodes, and a friend of mine at work gave me a website to show me what the episodes were that I could skip, because there's a whole bunch of filler that just has no bearing on the plot whatsoever. So that's kind of helped me a bit to skip a lot of stuff that was just really weird. Anime filler is just really strange sometimes.
Yeah.
And annoying. And I'll tell you so. I'll start this podcast off right. This morning, I went to the grocery store, and there was a guy in front of me trying to pay for his groceries, and he didn't have enough money. And this old guy, the card he had, I couldn't tell whether it was Social Security or a food stamp program or something. He was a fixed income old guy.
Right.
So I just told him, you know what? I'll pay for it. I figured, I did my good deed for the day. I'm very happy. I'm about to, and hopefully my sister doesn't see this. I've got a bunch of illegal cereals to ship to my nephews, which are all in a box ready to be shipped off. So there's that. And and I'm starting to read through the light novels for Rising of the Shield Hero.
Cool.
So a lot of stuff going on.
Keeping yourself busy.
Yeah. Notice I didn't mention work. Ah, damn it.
So close.
Yep.
But you, JD, how are you?
A little technical difficulty before the show, but I'm good to go now.
Your setup is way nicer now. Now
Yeah.
I got to get the blue spotlights and everything.
Well, I'm getting paid now to do these things, so I have to level up my game.
Wait a minute.
Don't tell John I'm paying you.
Hold your horses. Excuse me.
No, he's talking about his other podcast.
My other podcast, we Mike and JD, we went on our own this week with our first ever live stream on and we launched our Patreon and got 20 subscribers already.
Cool.
So for first
Very nice.
week went pretty good. But I figured if I'm doing that, I have to actually try with video, because I can't be the guy's I'm a video professional, and then I half-ass with me looking into a webcam. So I had to kind of level up the game a little bit and make it look like when Don would come on, I'd always be like, man, why is his setup better than mine? You're the professional in all this. So
You need the
No.
4K. Was it the 4K? I forget what the name of it is. The Logitech 4K streaming cam. I've got that at work. My only problem is that when I watch the feed from it, it's like, oh, that's where I cut myself shaving. Oh yeah. Oh, there's some razor burn over here. I got a hair out of place. I like the better the webcam, it's the Brio, the Logitech Brio.
Well, I got one of my
4K. They're expensive, but they're really good.
I got one of my DSLRs for right now, and it's fine. Drew, you want to see Evil JD? This would be Evil JD. Actually, this is more Evil JD.
Oh, there you go.
This is Evil JD. This is nice JD.
Yeah, Drew. It is too weird if it's too weird for me.
So, but yeah, other than that, school started last week or this past week on Thursday, so we got kids back. Going to be super busy for the rest of the year. It is what it is. So yeah, I just saw a movie. Literally just left the theater and came home. And I texted Dave before the show. And I'm like, hey, the dog threw up all over his kennel. So I had to clean that up, and then I had to do the setup, and then I couldn't get EOS to work because you saw when I came in, it's an EOS technology. EOS not connected, which in this case means you just plug it in, plug it out, plug it in, plug it out, plug it in, plug it out. So, yeah. But I'm good now.
Sounds
Time
very
to update your drivers.
It's old camera. So yeah.
So
Dave,
send your donations to @JD_.
No, I'm fine, man. Hey, don't no donations needed. I got the best setup right now, baby. I look good.
You look
How are
wonderful.
you, Dave? I do look wonderful. Feeling good about that.
No, I don't think you're lit well enough. Like,
I think I'm
I
looking
got
great.
these bright lights on me. Everyone can see me clearly. I'm so beautiful.
I am the one with the least human lighting. Okay.
True, that's exactly what I did. I did turn it on and off again. That's how I fixed it. I'm going to try to fix my light a little bit better now, though.
Yeah. I have that on my bag for work, Drew.
Since your eye turned it off. I'm doing all right. I had kind of a busy week with work, and see, I'm mentioning work. I actually have been doing a couple things for the podcast. I wanted to mention at the top of the show, we have 4,000 subscribers now on YouTube.
That's awesome.
Wow, there really is something wrong with this world.
Welcome to. Thank you for subscribing. Welcome to the show, and don't forget to tell your friends. And if you're watching and you're not subscribed, come on, hit that subscribe button, click that bell for notifications. Not click.
Something wrong with us too.
Instead
of donations, subscribe to JD's Patreon. Oh,
yeah, no, for sure. Subscribe to the Patreon. It's going good. More money. $5.
You know what? We should revisit ours.
Yes,
but
we should. By the way,
Really
I found a acceptable use for AI this week. I don't know if JD. I know John doesn't pay attention to social media. JD, you saw some of them. They're just clips that are reformatted to kind of fit, the long format, and has some of the words. There's an AI tool. It's free to use, and it was like, give us a video, and we'll generate some clips for you to put on social media.
It's a little weird, but it's not terrible. Like it's awkward how it bounces around, but I get it's like Instagram formatted, so it has to do it.
Exactly.
But it's a little different.
That or TikTok, yeah. So
interesting.
Yeah.
Are all the clips that the AI is picking out the ones where JD is yelling out, "I can't believe those bastards" or something like that?
No. I mean, and it's actually good because you can tell that it is edited. But it's some of them make no sense. The way that it's edited does not work at all. But some of them, it's like, oh, they took I say something and then you respond and then I say something back and it works. So, yeah.
You know what? Yeah. We'll talk about this after sausage making time. Like you should you should give me admin rights so that when we post up this video, we can actually add in the stops for each section. I could do that.
Can you?
Yes, I can. I've written over 1 million lines of code at work. I should be able to handle this.
Well, did you say you did 1 million lines of blow at work?
Yes.
Oh, I thought-
million lives of
If
love.
I had done that, I'd be much happier. But
It was
unfortunately,
like, wow, it's the super 80s speak.
it's 80s.
Uh,
It's old 80s businessman and older 80s businessman. It's like, yeah.
Speaking of sections of the show, let's just get right into social media madness.
Oh, let's not.
Oh, by the way, I'm not caught up on Superman and Lois, or Superman New Adventures of Superman. I didn't get a chance to watch
My
Matt's.
Adventures with Superman, and
That's it.
And yeah, it's man, it's just wow, it is hitting on all cylinders. I cannot believe it is this good. I am
But-
really surprised and happy.
Speaking of My Adventures with Superman,
Mhm.
we had Kassan chime in and said, I just watched episode 8. The Superman doubt felt manufactured and forced. I felt the hand of the writers flounder for tension, and they weren't subtle. Also, the sliding scale of Supes is annoying. One moment he's as fast as light, the next he can't catch a jogging man.
Well, he's at that. You got to remember, at that point, he's been literally awake for several days.
That
Like-
being said, the series is still an 8. It was it was an 8.5. Okay. And then
I'm still giving it a 9 myself.
Caesar said, maybe you weren't paying attention to the episode.
Hmm.
He is tired and disoriented. So there you
Yep.
go.
Yeah,
And then Kassan responded, I know, yet he still moved as fast as thought when it was convenient for the pacing. This has always been an issue with superhero media. Powers are a plot device,
that
not
well,
and nothing more. Yeah, exactly. Like that's the problem.
I would,
Kassan.
I would
is-
normally agree. I don't know. Wait. I know you're. I would normally agree with Kassan, but when adrenaline hits, that's what happens. Like if you've been awake for several days and you get a shot of adrenaline because something bad happened, you're going to be able to operate at like 95% capacity, but it's immediately going to drop again. Like, because I've been there, I've done that several times in my life.
Any sci-fi superhero show does that though. Like things change.
Sorry, ignore me.
Things
My
change
thing just fell down.
depending on the plot. I mean, how many times in Star Trek was it like you can't beam with the shields up, but then like last minute something happens and they can beam with the shields up, in an episode because they need to be able to do it at that moment.
I would agree, but there is a difference between like really lazy writing where it's just like,
I'm not saying it's-
sometimes it works through the shields and sometimes it doesn't. And then only slightly lazy writing where it's actually planned that yes, they made him at that point having been awake for several days that he is that tired, and yes, so that then it does make sense that he is really lagging on his reaction time and using his powers. And normally with Superman, that's the biggest problem with writing is trying to find a way to write him so that it's believable that he doesn't just instantly win on everything.
Right.
So
Super easy, barely an inconvenience.
yeah. Nice, Drew. Nice.
That's from pitch meeting.
From pitch meetings, yeah.
Yes. No, but I think the other side of the coin is that Superman has changed so much from his initial incarnation to the 70s to today. Like, I think what you have to do is establish a power set for your hero at the beginning of the show, and unless there's a reason to fluctuate from it, try to stick to it.
Well, in
Isn't that
this
the-
we
I think
ahead.
is that the point though of this show is that he is fluctuating because he is discovering
Yeah.
what he can and can't do.
right.
So that's
Right.
kind of built in.
And his power set isn't the same as your normal typical Superman. This one's got the electrical burst and everything. So we still and he's able to throw off the effects of kryptonite. They showed it. Nobody's mentioned it, but they showed it. So we still don't know how this Superman differs from the rest,
Yeah.
So like JD's exactly right. Until they get inside his ship and start talking to Jor-El and figure out the language and all that, and start filling in. But I like the fact that they're taking a slow burn on that and not just explaining everything outright. It's the same thing they did with John Wick. It's the same thing they do with One Piece, the anime. It's like it is much better for the story if you discover stuff organically through the story rather than having a dissertation at some point, you know?
Yeah. Well, here's Kassan chiming in. There was a solution. They took the lazier solution. He could have caught the invisible guy just as the truck came in and shielded the guy because he didn't have time to fly him away.
But he wasn't thinking properly. All he could think of at that point was, "Oh, save the person, get them out of the way." Because
Save the cheerleader,
he's
save the world.
yeah.
You know,
We're pulling out stuff that, the youngins won't remember, those oldies but goodies.
Damn, that is nearly a 20-year-old show, isn't it?
Isn't it really? Oh God.
Fuck old.
You're old. Okay.
I know. What are you, dead?
oh,
Hey, me and the Crypt Keeper, man.
me and
You know,
Keeper.
You
Wait a
know,
minute.
if there's a show that needs a comeback, it would be Tales from the Crypt.
Tales from the Crypt, yeah.
This is
that.
true.
Speaking of Kassan, he actually turned me on to a
Kinky.
I wasn't gonna say anything. Just don't.
Yeah, leave it to
Go
me.
on.
I'm the one.
Leonardo.
I'm the
test
muscle mover.
footage from a company called I can't remember the name of the company. It's called Leonardo. It's Outnumbered. And it's a video, it's CGI video of like Leo fighting a bunch of people. Did you have a chance to watch it? Because I know you don't pay attention to social media, John, and JD. You have a life.
This is kind of like every once in a while you'll get something like this. Like they had one for the Red Lion for Voltron back in the day, like a couple of years ago, maybe over 5 years ago now. It's just some short, some person got one of the actors from Psych to actually play the driver of the Red Lion and the pilot of Red Lion. And it just like every once in a while you get one of these fan made things that has such a high level of just, I don't know. It's just, it's amazing. And yeah, this is great. This is like awesome.
Yeah, he said this is the movie Dave wanted. Also me.
Right.
I'd love this movie. Yeah, I mean it was good.
And it's done so well too.
Yeah, no, it looks really good. I thank you, Kassan, for sharing that because it's a movie we'll never get. All right. Moving on. We talked a lot about the death of physical media last week, and
Physical. We're gonna kill physical.
Oh my God.
Sorry.
And over on the YouTubes, we got a comment from Horror Collector for Life.
For life.
And he said, "I have to."
That's a wrestling thing. For life. It's the NWO in 1996.
He says, "I have to disagree with you guys. Physical media is still important to us because we're living in a world of political correctness, BS.
Oh Lord!
And it's nice to have something in your hands that is not censorship or anything yet."
Okay.
Hold on, let me read.
Okay, go ahead. But there's
Let me finish reading it. The most of the streaming content sucks. Special from Disney. They kill so many franchises. I think he meant especially from Disney. So many franchises. It's unbelievable, in my opinion. Peace out. Physical media for life. All right, go ahead, John. What were you gonna say?
You want to go or can I go? You want to go, John? You want to go?
No, you go ahead first.
I'll go first.
Yep.
Then you. We didn't say it's time to end physical media. We said they're not selling physical media in Australia, like specifically because no one is buying it, and no one is going to take away your guns, man. I'm sorry. When we're tying in political correctness to not selling DVDs, I'm out. I don't know what else to say about this one. That is the most ridiculous. I won't drink Bud Light crap I've ever heard in my life. I
don't know. I don't care about the political correctness thing. That's like I I think a lot of that is kind of stupid. I mean, not stupid in the way of like,
Stupid.
well, yeah. Most of it's stupid. But like take across the Spider-Verse, there are definite changes they made between the Blu-ray that's being put out and the theatrical release, and it makes me nervous that I am going to see and feel something like I'm going to tell somebody, hey, I got the Blu-ray. Let's watch this together because I really want you to see it. And having them feel something different than I did in the theater because, the Mandela effect where they change things in the movie to change what you're feeling during certain scenes. Like when Gwen runs over to Miles after he saves the father in the universe of Mumbattan, right? Like in the theater, she's running over going, oh God, no, Miles. And in the Blu-ray, she didn't say anything when she runs over. So
John,
you feel about her differently now.
We know, John. We talked about this. Different theaters had different cuts of the movie.
Okay.
This is, here's the thing.
But they're changing more in the Blu-ray again.
Yeah, because they're working on the movie, and guess who gets to work on the movie? The people who make the movie. I get so tired of people saying it's my movie. No, it's really not. It's the people who make the movie. It's the people who put the time and effort into creating the thing. It's not about the viewer. It's about the person who's creating something, right? And I don't like it's you. And like you're saying, well, I want them to feel the same way I feel. There's no guarantee they're going to feel the same way you felt watching a scene in a movie. They're going to feel their own way about it.
True, but can you imagine the chaos when they start changing entire scenes completely?
Yeah, they can do that. Yeah, they can do that. George Lucas did it a lot in Star Wars.
I was going to say, Han shot first.
If it's my movie, I get to do what I want with it.
I get it. I get it. But
like all the guns were edited out of ET.
Right, and that was a mistake. Because Steven Spielberg said, that was not the right move to do. Right. And that's on the filmmaker to do those things. It's on them to make the decision of what their movie sounds like, what their movie feels like, because it's their expression. Right. And we talk like, what about the artist? What about what the artist is trying to do with their work? You can tweak
it. Look, even as a writer, you have to know that you could endlessly tweak something. You could write a book and then 10 years later come up with a really good idea. You could have put an extra scene in there. But the problem is that you continue to do that, and like maybe it's me being old and I like something that's permanent. Like I have this book, I've read it, and I know that other people have read the same thing I've read. When you start having everybody being able to change everything after it's released.
We talk about everybody. We're not talking about everybody. We're talking about the creator. If the creator wants to change it, Stephen King changed The Gunslinger because what it was between the first book and the fifth book were different. So he went back and fixed it. That's his story.
We also talk about how stupid the argument of having the physical media keeps it the same, because Blockbuster famously edited movies that they had for rent.
Walmart,
I didn't know that.
Walmart releases CDs and stuff all the time that's censored. Like this idea that because you have a permanent copy of something, it's like untouched and biblical is a bit ridiculous.
Okay, but let's try to agree that censoring things is ridiculous because you've got them taking the N-word out of Tom Sawyer, right? It's like some things they're a product of their time, and whether or not that was a good time is something that we can learn from. And if you continually change it, they're doing this from not just with Tom Sawyer, with a lot of books.
I agree.
And that's wrong. We start to lose our history,
Right. And unfortunately, because of public domain laws, legally you can do that. It's in the public domain. You can get an original version of Tom Sawyer. You can get an original version of Huck Finn, but because it's public domain, it doesn't belong. So this is the case. It doesn't belong. After I think 75 years, it no longer belongs to the creator nor his family. It becomes part of the public consciousness. Hassan's got a comment here. He goes, creators modify what they want, but changes can erode confidence in the creator's work. That's true. And to that, I say, who cares? Who cares? I mean, honestly, I don't care. If I'm creating something, I'm doing it because that's what I want to do with it. And I've gone back and changed things in my books,
You've
right?
killed
And so
John in
some
them.
people have. Well, yeah, I didn't change that. That actually happened. But like I've
Oh,
changed dialogue. I've re-edited. People do this all the time. They go back and they re-edit books, special editions, and remixes. I was listening to Fleetwood Mac the other day because I like Fleetwood Mac. They're a very good band. And like there's the 2012 remix of Little Lies. And I'm like, oh, well, that's a thing. Right. So does that destroy that song because they went back
Oh
and
no, no,
retinkered with
no.
it?
No. If you can still get the original work, that's fine. But
That's
this
what I'm
is
saying. Yeah.
I'm talking about the Lucas effect, where suddenly the old version doesn't exist anymore,
Yeah,
and
but
you have to trade it through the black market.
But
You
that's
know?
on the creator. If they don't like the version of it that got released, right? I understand that.
yeah.
Like especially if Lucas, because again, if you've ever created something and you put it in the ether, all you see are the flaws.
Yeah.
That's it. And you
Oh
look
yeah,
at
no,
it.
but that's
It's
every creator, right?
yeah, 100%. Every creator has
Mm.
everything they release is like a high school yearbook, right? A yearbook photo, excuse me, high school yearbook photo. All you see are your pimples, your hairs that are out of line, your stupid haircut, your dumb shirt that you wore, right? You don't see what other people see when they look at it. So, and I'm always going to support a creator if they want to change it, right? But if it's Walmart or something like that, then yeah, I'm on board. But I think this guy, I forget his name, just created a complete slippery slope scenario to kind of push his little agenda.
Something for
Okay.
life. Horror something for life. All right. Speaking of creators,
Life.
I did an interview this past week with Travis Webb, one of the creators of Starlight.
I love how you're doing
And
this. I love how you're doing this, by the way, doing all these creator interviews and creator series. It's just diversifies the channel so much more, Dave. It's a great job, man.
thank you. To which
Did I
Kassan,
shock you? Did I shock you
yes,
with a compliment? Well, I'm should do that more
yes.
frequently, Dave. I appreciate your work and your stewardship of this show.
Kassan commented, great guest. Travis had comprehensive insight into the comic book and general writing industry. I'll have to hunt more of his content down. Yeah, he was interesting because he actually worked as a reporter for a while, and then ended up, but always wanted to work in comics, so ended up going back to comics because he loved it so much. And yeah, it's interesting. It's funny because I try to keep them to a half hour, and that one's like an hour because we were just having a great conversation. So yeah, let's see. Already spoke. Ultimately, it's up to the consumer to communicate their appreciation of content through their wallets, which is true. Which is
Yeah, but
why physical media is going away because people aren't buying it anymore.
100%. That's what we talked about. Not in
Yeah.
this country though. That's Australian. So all you little Outback steakhousers, all you crocodile Dougies, you got to buy some DVDs, man. If you want to get your, I don't know what the Australian Walmart is. So take out your Vegemite sandwiches and start buying some stuff.
All right, pancakes or waffles, guys.
Well, I'm with Donkey on this one. Waffles.
It depends on the mood. I can go either way, as long as they're gluten
Waffles,
free.
waffles, waffles,
Waffles,
waffles,
waffles,
waffles.
waffles. Sound like my child.
Randy says waffles. Travis's
Okay.
backstory was wild. It was, yeah.
Right.
I'm not going to ruin it. Go watch it.
Listen to the
I'm not
show.
gonna-
Or watch the show, actually. Watch the show.
Yes. Yeah, that one's only on YouTube. I don't release that as an audio. So, all right. Finally, I released a question on all our social media, and boy, did I not get a lot of responses on this. It made me sad. But I will. But I'm going to keep trying this once a week. The question was, with Blue Beetle launching, obviously that means that the DCU is officially launching. The DCEU is dead. My question was, should anything survive from the DCEU? Right, because there's all this back and forth with Wonder Woman and whatnot. Over on the TikToks, Mr. Random Randy Savage said, Pedro Pascal as Maxwell Lord can come back. Everyone else can get swapped out.
You know, I forgot about Maxwell Lord. Pedro Pascal was a great Maxwell Lord. He's absolutely right. I would add that to my list of very few people that I would have back.
It's a very forgettable movie.
Yeah, I know. That's right. My brain was just protecting me. That's all.
I like Gal Gadot. Appreciated her.
Yeah.
You know who
we
was
all
great?
like-
You know who was great? Was Pierce Brosnan as Dr. Fate.
Mm.
You know what? You're right.
He was the
They
shot.
killed him.
They did kill him, but he's Dr. Fate. He can come back. Like, so, and then have him like do the Medusa mask thing with Dr. Fate's helmet of fate and have him kind of like be aware that it's a different universe. That's what I would do. That's why no one hires me to do these things.
Kassan says,
Kassan-
no, not without Cavill. Just reboot
Just
the whole
reboot
thing.
the whole thing.
It might be. We don't know.
Yeah.
Blue Beetle might be a part of that.
I think Blue Beetle is the part of that based on what we saw today. Excuse me. I itched my nose.
Randy says Dr. Fate is badass.
He is. Dr. Fate ruled.
Dr. Fate's one of the
Also, we
powerful-
had our good friend 8-Bit Ray said Impulse. Oh wait, DC doesn't have the balls.
Dude, we gotta get Flash figured out before we can go to Impulse.
Yeah.
We're like 6 steps away from Impulse.
Forget Impulse. Get the
Ugh.
Static Shock for crying out loud.
Scorpion season. Juices, I hate Scorpion season. Just found a baby.
Oh,
Let me just say, fuck that.
Where the heck do you have Scorpion season?
He's in Arizona.
Oh, okay.
Oh, that would do it.
He's
Yeah.
he's one of Jim Henson's desert babies.
And then over on the Twitter, we had Randy comment again. Mark Strong as a DC villain. Doesn't matter who. You just need him to come back in there. In fact, Joe Magnola needs to show what he got has his Deathstroke. Also, we need, and I can't say the guy's name. It's from Game of Thrones. Jamie Lannister.
Oh, Nikolaj Coster-Waldau, but good.
Yeah. As
Really?
Eobard, he wants him as Eobard Thawne.
I saw that. That's really good fan casting, actually.
He's got a 5-second cameo in The Flash.
Does he?
Everyone missed it.
Is
The
that a
scene
thing? Did that happen?
When young Barry or past Barry gets his powers and he's running around the city and he steals the guy's hot dog, that's Jamie Lannister.
It was.
Was
Yeah.
it?
Yeah.
Well, well, there you go. There's a villain origin story if I ever heard one. Hassan forgot about Pierce Brosnan too. Okay, give me Pierce. Yeah, that was good. You know what made it? You know what made it? That damn Doc Holliday mustache.
It was. You're right.
Oh my god! I got a pitch. A Dr. Fate series in the Old West where he's actually Doc Holliday. that would rule so much ass.
Cool.
DC, call me. You're not gonna.
All right. Well, that
Whoa,
is all.
Whoa! Pull that up. So this is my new show account, the Mike and JD show. I assume because I'm here. I assume this is Mike Gilbert, my co-host, saying I love Pierce Brosnan, but The King's Daughter was brutal. Okay, so this is a deep cut. The King's Daughter was a movie put together by this shitty film studio that I cannot remember what they're called, owned by Anthem Entertainment, who owns a pro wrestling company that we cover. Hey, Mike, thanks for dropping by.
I was going to say hi, Mike.
The circle is now complete because Dave showed up on us. Mike, what's the name of that crappy film studio? If you're still around, please put it in the chat.
All right. Well, while we're waiting for that, if you want to join us on social media and be part of social media next week, here's our good friend Don to tell you more.
How's the show going? You join it? Do you want to be part of social media madness? And go ahead and head over to superheroespeak.com where you can find all the social links, episodes of the show. You can find comic reviews by Chris and other articles. We're posting stuff on there all the time. And while you're there, check out the rest of the Geek World All-Stars Podcast Network. Great shows like the Pop Prison Power Podcast, Colt 45, Fans on Patrol, the Gorilla Brain Podcast, So Wizard, and Superhero Speak. Hashtag GW All-Stars, and you will not be disappointed. So make sure that you are engaging with the Superhero Speak Twitter post whenever they come up. Give us your best comment, and you may make JD say this.
I get so tired of these dumb motherfuckers.
All right, it's back to the show.
Thanks for that, Don. Don, we might need you to redo that. Because
a couple things. Mike says gravitas then.
Uh.
I appreciate that. Second of all, so you want to talk about Don's lighting? That was really good. And Mike also has a drop where like I go crazy. Is this a thing that I do? I do that?
Maybe.
Drew says DC doesn't even have phone lines to call you from. This is a fair statement. Oh my God, this is awesome. Randy says Jonah Hex played by Cavill and Batlash with Affleck. Holy shit! Now that's some awesome fantasy casting if I've ever heard one. Hey, Don, you look good, man.
Don, you are here.
Loving the show tonight. Well, thanks, man. We miss you. We should get you back on sometime.
Yes. Let us know when you can do. I know you said Sundays are tough. Let us know when you can do it. And what we might need you to redo that promo because we should mention TikTok because I'm trying to build an audience on there too. So
I can't do it. Man.
That should be interesting.
I can't.
We're gonna need one of you to floss later. So we'll talk about that.
No.
On that note, we're going to take a quick commercial break and we'll be right back.
Some podcasts are like this.
I think that our misunderstanding concerns the intent behind what I would consider an act of love. When I pull the covers over our heads after a sizable fart and turn our bed into a linen gas chamber, it's me sharing with you, whom I love deeply, one of the things in my life that I'm most proud of, and that is the decibel level and aromatic violence that my sphincter is capable of. To bask in it together is a bonding experience that has the potential to deepen our bond of love, and she's gone.
And some podcasts are like this.
You want to make a lot of money, WB? This is what you do. Take Batman the Animated Series. Do that! Just do that in live action. Sold. Superman the Animated Series. Do that! Sold. Billion right there.
Mr. Freeze with the dome.
With the dome.
With the dome.
With the dome.
Give me a guy with a puppet who's scary as
Give me a racial ambiguous Lex Luthor.
Right.
I don't know what he is.
No one knows. No one knows what he is.
We don't know what he is. Got a black voice. He's white, but got big lips. I don't know what he is. But do that. Do that. Take the storylines from it if you want to, and we would love it. That seems simple enough to me. Does that seem simple enough to y'all?
Yeah.
Would you be okay with that?
Give me a guy.
Easy.
Who's made of clay.
Easy.
He's made of clay.
He's made of clay.
No, not he got disfigured in an accident.
No.
He's made of clay.
Clay.
His name's Clayface.
Clayface.
But only one podcast is where you can get in-depth analysis like this.
How do you get in a suit so tight you can't hear yourself, my nigga? She was yelling her lines at first, and like Tim was like, shh, shh, shh. Break it down. Break it down. Just. I am Catwoman. Hear me, yo. Mystical! I can't skip even deadlier! I feel so yummy in this! So much more yummier! Just fucking. Michelle! Whoa. Break it down. Break it down. Andrew's in the corner like, yeah, Liz. Fuck yeah. Fuck yeah. That's what I'm talking about. That's metal as fuck. Metal as fucking screaming latex bitch.
You are now listening to Cult 45.
This is Beat 'em Down.
And I'm Random Randy Savage.
Find us on all your podcatching apps like Podbean or Spotify. And follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. Or just go to www.cult45podcast.com.
Also, check out our YouTube for that sweet, sweet video content.
Cult 45, the only podcast that puts hair on your chest.
Yes.
I
So,
hope we sound smarter than those people.
okay, wait, hold on real quick.
Whoa, that second guy was pretty good, actually.
Right.
Like we've talked about this before, but his idea that holds water. It's valid.
Randy lets us know that there are also cooking TikToks. I actually made turkey and stuffing tonight.
Halfway to Thanksgiving party or something.
Well, my son requested it, and I'm like, okay, why not?
Is there a TikTok that tells you how to sign up for HelloFresh?
But
'Cause I
Drew
can't.
says I nominate John to floss for TikTok. So
Yeah, no, you do not want to see me dance. No, of anything. I can sing. I've sung on stage in the past. I can
So,
do that. I will
if
not
we
dance.
are-
That is
if
the
we-
one thing.
I'm going to say this right now. If we get to 200 followers on TikTok, 250 followers on TikTok, We will make John dance.
You dare. Look, I mean, I know you don't want us to succeed, but that is like, seriously, like that would guarantee losing all
And
those people.
And since Randy's watching, I already said this to him, but remember last week when we talked about YouTube and how they take stuff down, they copyright it, and twice we changed the intro. I created a song and created the shorter intro for us. Last week's episode went up, and then we got a copyright strike, and I'm like,
I told you, it
What
doesn't
the-
matter
No!
what we use. Yeah.
Randy's ad had Gangster's Paradise playing in the background. That's what
Get
with the copyright
outta
strike.
here.
That's fair
All right,
use.
see ya.
When somebody's talking over it, that's fair use.
I
They
know.
can't do that.
But it's like, yeah. So Randy, fix that ad.
Bullshit. Actually, Randy, do
That's-
another
that's-
ad because the ads are always great.
Yeah,
That's
there
YouTube.
they are.
That's YouTube.
That's YouTube.
All right.
Yeah, exactly.
We got a little bit of news to talk about, guys. I think Disney's in a lot of freaking trouble. So
Well, I speaking as somebody who was just at the Disney parks this year,
Me too.
they are in trouble. The parks themselves are going downhill.
Park
Well, yeah,
sucks. I told you guys that the Magic Kingdom blows ass.
I don't even want to
Yeah.
like get into that because like they made so many mistakes with the parks in the last couple of years. Like it's ridiculous. But
What's the reason why they got rid of the old CEO and brought back what's his name?
Iger.
Yeah, Iger.
So
Iger.
first off, they're being sued by the financiers of the Way of Water because they're claiming that they're using Hollywood magic bookkeeping to prevent them from getting paid, saying that the movie hasn't made any money, so they can't pay out.
Oh my God! If there's one person you don't cross, it's a financier.
Yeah, but you know the funny thing is, I think it's Empire Strikes Back. They said for decades made no money, so that they didn't have to pay the financiers. Yeah, so
Yeah.
so it's not like that's the whole thing is that this is not new, but with everything else going on at Disney, them being sued for this, and apparently they have a strong case from the article that I read. This was on the Hollywood Reporter. Like, yeah, like obviously the movie made money, right? It was one of the only movies this year that actually made money. So, yeah. The other one you brought to my attention, John, the in-house Marvel VFX team is going to vote whether or not they're going to unionize.
Good. I hope they unionize.
They are going to unionize. It's going to happen.
Yeah.
I have a question.
After the last couple of years they've had, yeah.
Mhm.
I have a question though, and I've seen this happen before. They just get rid of them and then import all their VFX work.
Also known as pulling a Bezos. But
I don't think
they
that
can-
will work because I
Yeah.
think the idea of a union, because they're gonna, if as soon as they do form a union, they're going to get backed by SAG and WGA,
Yeah,
and probably the Directors Guild, probably the DGA too. So when that happens,
but what happens if they do it before the vote?
then they won't work with them. Then you're gonna have the DGA saying we're not gonna work with you. You're gonna have WGA saying we're not
Yeah.
gonna work with you. Like it's gonna cause This is why they don't want this, right? And what's gonna happen is all the VX houses are gonna unionize. Eventually, you're just gonna have VFX union.
And here's the difference between like something like these guys unionizing and something like Amazon warehouse people.
It's different.
If they start, well, I know it's all different, but here's another difference. If they start pulling a Bezos and like, well, you know, you're fired because you weren't working up to what we thought you could, or that sort of thing. You know, it's really hard to animate stuff when your character models go missing because you have to rebuild those, and that takes time.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
They have power, which is why they can pull this off, right? Like if you're working for Hollywood and you're not unionized, if you can get organized and say, "Hey, we're going to do this," there's really not much they can do because they're going to like they're start. I don't know if you guys saw the WGA put out a press release saying the PTA is like, they want to talk and they're willing to start working on concessions because you can't go
Yeah.
on. right? And this happens. Like they're again, it's a negotiation. They're not going to get everything they want, but they wind up getting the most stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, one of the things I wanted to say on places unionizing, and it's just a total side note. I had one of my best friends, who will remain nameless, used to work for. First, it was Prism, and then Prism went out of business, and Comcast Sportsnet took over, and they were going to bring a union in to Comcast Sportsnet, and Comcast just offered them all this stuff to not unionize.
That's a known tactic.
Mhm.
Yeah. And so basically, like, most of the people are like, we're not going to, because we'll take the stuff. So, I mean, I'm just saying that happens too.
I think Kassan's got a point here. It's kind of we talked about. I think VFX Union has a strong position. I don't think there are enough VFX houses to go around and meet all the demands. That's what I'm saying. Once one does it,
Yeah.
the rest will jump on board because there's strength in numbers, especially in Hollywood.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I mean, look at what happened with the Across the Spider-Verse.
Mhm.
You know, they're talking about how like they were rushing to get it done, and so yeah, it makes sense. I mean, that's Sony, but still, it was like,
Well, that goes
it's-
for almost all animation studios at this point. Like,
yeah,
especially when you're dealing with like a studio like Netflix. Netflix is notorious for underpaying and overworking, animation houses and FX houses. Like they're like one of the worst offenders. So this will affect Netflix too, and anybody else that uses those guys for stuff like fully CGI animated series.
so
This is reality.
Yeah.
right.
Well, it's good though.
So
It's good.
Very.
you had said just a second ago that they're now willing to negotiate, right? With the-
There's talk that there was the WGA. There's talk that they're going to start negotiating. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm wondering if this has anything to do with it. A federal judge on Friday said that AI art is not copyrightable.
Good.
That is very. But it's
And it's
legally
causing
speaking-
studios to have pause because, like,
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
good.
This, but okay, so that's the thing is there's no creator really. Like the guy entering prompts is not a creator. And I've done it. I play with AI art. Like there's no real creation going on. So I'm really glad that this is a decision because this had to happen. Like somebody had to make these kind of calls at some point. And I'm glad a lawyer
Right.
did. John just checked out of the show. Yeah.
he's typing. That's why he muted his mic.
I know.
Yeah, I type it. Okay, there was a movie only a few years ago called Flash of Genius. It was about the guy who invented the intermittent windshield wipers, and it was was it Ford? I think it was Ford that stole it from him.
Okay.
They had him come in and say they said, okay, we're gonna use your invention, we're gonna set you up and everything. They had him come in, show him a prototype, and then they stole it and they offered theirs, and it took years in the courts, but he finally won. And the reason why I'm saying this is he won on the fact, and this goes right to AI. He won on the fact that the way he arranged the transistors and the wiring and all that was the same as him coming up with a specific ordering of words for a book, meaning he could copyright it, he could trademark it. So that's the same thing as artists. They come up and they order stuff and they come up with a work of art. If somebody else comes up and takes that and just tweaks it a little bit or cuts pieces out, they're still using other people's work to put this together. So there's no, like, that ruling is going to have to stand. I cannot see anybody being able to overrule that. Or if they do, it'll go to the Supreme Court.
Oh no! I mean, here's the thing that
don't want that.
I agree with the
Yeah,
ruling.
I know these days.
I agree with the ruling with the AI art because that is an amalgam of other art. Like we all know this. It's not creating anything. It's looking for, like, if you say, give me a picture of Batman, it's looking at all the pictures of Batman on the internet and bringing them together and creating an amalgam. Like it's not new art in that sense.
And still, even now, there's still reports of them like they put together an AI generated version of Batman, and you will see little pieces of artist signatures in the output from the original artists.
Yes.
Like
But the windshield wiper one has me.
It was called
interested.
Flash of Genius. It came out in 2008.
It just makes me it makes me think, because look at like the computer industry, right? That the BIOS like was one of the biggest things when PCs first came out, and the idea was, I can't remember who created the original BIOS, but then like HP wanted to create their own computer, and you could buy all the parts off of the shelf except the BIOS.
I think it was IBM that created the BIOS originally.
Right. So, and it was the copyrighted thing in the computer. Well, they reverse engineered it. They figured out what the BIOS was doing and created their own chip that acted like a BIOS chip, and that was allowed because they didn't copy the exact wiring in the chip.
They clean room. It's what's called a clean room. If you can look at the inputs and outputs and come up with something that does the same, but you haven't looked at the specific code that does it, then that's what's called a clean room version, and that's legal. But you cannot copy stuff from the actual code that's doing the processing.
Right. So, I mean, but that's a completely different. That's why I got interested in. I'm going to watch Flash Genius just to see how they.
I'll shut up about this now because we lost 2 viewers while we're.
I think we lost JD too. Looks like he fell asleep.
You lost a co-host too on this, but yeah.
Awesome. 3 people with 1 shot. Awesome.
Well, all right. Well, speaking of AI, and this is, I believe, the last article I have for the week, but John, you brought this one. There's already there's a book that's selling like wildfire on Amazon. That's a big joke.
It will not be. Go ahead.
It is an AI written book about the Maui wildfires.
Yeah. So, like, Maui wildfires happen. 3 days later, guy puts in a couple of prompts, gets an AI to generate an entire book about it, and publishes it through Amazon. Like,
look, man,
Amazon,
buyer beware. People publish shitty books all the time.
And it has like terrible reviews, like like saying because it's very repetitive, it doesn't actually say anything.
Yeah, it's an AI book.
Mm-hmm.
There's
just JD, one thing. You'll find this funny. You'll find this funny. There is another book that reviews that AI book that came out like within a day or 2 later, and he's got rave reviews.
I would love to put together a little social experiment and put together an AI book with a different author title and put it on the internet to see what happens. Because if it actually outsells my other stuff, I may run my face into a wall.
No,
I feel for you.
You don't want to do that.
No, it's a reflex. It's not what I want to do.
You have such a pretty face.
I am good looking. I'm handsome.
You're best looking here.
In the land of the blind. In the land of the blind, the one-eyed man is truly king.
JD, you are carrying this stable, man.
that hurts, John. That
really.
hurts.
I feel
hey, at least I'm honest about my looks. So, what's up next? Now that we've talked about,
Kassan agrees with me. That's why I think I have to do it. I think I have to throw together a stupid AI book about something that like is a problem, right? That people need like solutions to, like, I don't know,
oh god,
inflatable tires or something like that. And just to see, because that's what they tell people they should write about, like all these like
book.
these like but stupid self-help books is like find a problem that people have and write a book that figures it out. So I'm like, what, like hemorrhoids? Maybe I'll write a book about hemorrhoids with AI.
Time management,
dude, self-help book. Like a self-help book, it'll sell no matter what it is. It'll sell. Either that or have the
challenge accepted.
Instead of the secret of yes, the
Go
secret of no.
Oh, the power in saying no.
The power in saying no.
That's a great idea. I just don't want to write it. So I'll have AI do it for me.
You're right. Exactly. Oh my god.
Just wait until this AI stuff gets bad enough that we start talking about Roku's basilisk. And if you don't know what that is, look it up. It's kind of a scary theory, but
I want to. All right, go ahead, John. Tell me what Roku's basilisk is.
the theory goes that if in the future you suspect that there will be an AI, let's call it the basilisk, that will punish you if you don't support it retroactively, then are you more willing to believe in it now before it even exists because you might get punished by it when it does exist? Because that AI, we all know AI isn't going to stop. So technically, the basilisk very well may exist in the future. And if it does exist in the future and it's going to punish you for not supporting it now, for going against AI now, does that make you more or less willing to help it come into being?
You just attached very Lovecraftian ideals
Yes.
to artificial intelligence.
Yes. Yeah, that's what Roku's basilisk is. It's a, I mean, you just go out and look. It's a big theory out on the web.
Oh my god.
And there's a story behind it too, but I won't tell
Sounds a little
what happened when
1984-ish as
when
well.
somebody postulated that. But you should go out and
All right.
No,
All right.
good.
You broke my brain. I think we need to take a break and come back with our main topic because that's all the news I got for this week. So yeah. All right, we're gonna take a break. We'll be right back.
I feel like I failed you guys. This wasn't how it was supposed to happen.
You're Hyman. You always land on your feet.
Oh, I'm in so much trouble.
The universe has sent you a gift. You have to figure out what you're gonna do with it.
How'd you do that?
I have no idea.
Target the family.
Come to Papa.
Nana.
No way.
See, wait.
Blue Beetle, rated PG-13. Only theaters August 18th.
All right. We're here to talk about a movie, guys.
Movie about a bug.
About a bug. All right.
Blue bug.
Yes. So we're gonna talk Blue Beetle. Let's
drink to that.
As we always do. Let's talk the numbers first, right? We've got box office. Domestic 25.4 million.
Damn.
International 18 million. So worldwide 43.4 million on a budget of 104 million. Yikes.
It's not that high of a budget for these kind of things. There's a good chance they could catch that. Maybe.
Rotten Tomatoes. Tomato meter 76%. The audience score is 92%. So that's a little bit of hope.
I think that this could have a good second week. I do.
Well, it's going to be word of mouth because of
word of
DC's
mouth.
current.
Here's where I lost my shit today. I did an audience poll like I always did, and I even put it on Facebook and the other place.
Put this up real quick. Hold on, before you even read this, put this thing up. I'm getting a lot of flattery today, and I want this one. Hey, how's it going?
No, the other one.
Go to the next one.
Oh no, somebody's hitting on JD. Okay.
Hey, I'll take it. Thank you, sir. I'm flattered. I do look like Tom Hardy.
I told you you're carrying the stable, man.
I'm feeling great. Guys, we can
You
feel
look
good.
like Tom Hardy after he let himself go. We get it. We understand. That's
Ah,
right.
Bad Tom Hardy's still Tom Hardy.
All I hear is jealousy, Dave.
Hey, you know
Tell me
what?
when I'm telling lies.
JD's married and I have a girlfriend, and you anyway.
I have my cats.
I
I have my cats and I have my code.
Fighting
that is
hard
your
not
life.
to make I'm fighting hard not to make a joke based on
No,
cats.
don't,
Pulling
JD.
back.
It's obvious.
Pulling back.
It's too easy
Pulling
for you,
back.
man. Go for the better stuff.
All right. So over on the X, we asked, what did you think of Blue Beetle? Gave them our typical answers. Best DC movie ever. It was good, not great. It was okay, and it was terrible. The winner at 53.7% was It Was Terrible.
That's
What?
It Was Good
No.
came in at second, 22%. It Was Okay at 12.2, tied with the best movie at 12.2%. Over on Facebook, it was split 30 and 30 between best movie and It Was Good, not the best, and 40% It Was Terrible. So technically, you can say 60% of the people who answered the poll liked the movie, 40% didn't.
So Dave, you emailed me yesterday, and I said, "What did you think? What did you tell me? What was your response? Do you recall?"
I said that I feel that DC finally made a Marvel movie.
And how did you follow that up? Because Randy said exactly what you emailed me yesterday when you pull up Randy's comment.
Your Twitter poll was hacked by Snyder trolls. I said the Snyder bots are going to hate this.
Yep.
Yes.
They 100% hate this movie, which
wait
is
a minute.
why. Hey, John looks like a young Tom Cruise. Sure. Scorpion
Tom Cruise
seasons
looks like a young Tom Cruise.
that is the most accurate statement I've ever heard. I was going to say Scorpion season's rougher than I thought.
Yeah, it's true. How many times did that young one bite? And you know, the young ones are actually, it's worse if the young ones bite you because they can't regulate how much venom they put in you yet. It's the old ones that are better if they bite you.
I didn't know that.
And my girlfriend is not
true fact,
watching,
actually.
so she can't comment. This is annoying.
Is
Anyway,
your girlfriend a Scorpion expert?
Oh my God.
no,
All right.
she can give me a compliment. You bastard.
Oh, you're fishing for compliments. I thought we were talking about scorpions.
Yes. So let's get into this. Okay. Yeah, let's get into this real quick. We'll just go around the room. Everyone, give your initial thoughts on this movie. No spoilers yet. JD, you have the most fresh view on it, so you can go first.
My favorite DC film. I loved every second of it. I actually got tears in my eyes twice in this movie. I can't believe how much I love this movie. It's the best superhero movie, Avengers Endgame.
Okay.
Warmed the
Strong
cockles
words.
of my cold, dead heart and balls.
John, how are your balls?
How that?
Soft and squishy.
Okay.
Very
that aside,
very cruise-like.
You guys know that I am not for the blue stuff. Okay. Shut up. Shut up.
Double die.
Okay. So,
So your balls are blue?
Shut up.
Very on brand.
I knew it the minute I said it. All right, look.
Care for that.
Speaking of Blue Beetle. So my take. It is so weird. It is a paint by numbers superhero movie.
It is
right down,
in a lot of ways.
Right,
Yeah.
right down to the bad guy having the exact same powers. Blah blah
Marvel.
blah.
That's what I mean by it's a DC made a Marvel movie.
Yep.
And there are things that we need to talk about it because it's schizophrenic. But I agree with JD. One of the best superhero movies I've seen to date, carried by the actors, carried by some of the writing that seems to have survived some rewrites apparently. But otherwise, yeah. I mean, best DC movie hands down.
Okay. Yeah. I'm a third. Like, I don't know if and I said it after words to you, JD, like maybe best is going a little strong. Top 5 at least. Like, because come on, when you say DC movies, you also got to include Superman. You got to include The Dark Knight.
No, DC Universe.
Sure. I was talking DC Universe movies, like
yes,
and like those movies aren't meant to exist. Like the original Superman, the original Batman, those movies aren't meant to function in the universe.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
But I will think this is my favorite movie this is my favorite DC movie since The Dark Knight. I don't think that's a stretch to say for me.
Yeah. It's funny because somebody had commented to me. Or no, I saw this on Facebook before I saw the movie, and afterwards I'm like, I don't disagree with it, But this person was saying it in a negative context of, well, if you like the Shazam movies, you're going to like this. Because the Shazam movies had the most heart. I think at least the first one had the most heart of all the DC EU movies, and this movie has heart.
Tons of heart.
It has a theme of family that they keep strong through the entire movie. We have a hero who refuses to kill. We have not had that in any DC EU movie.
Speaking of the schizophrenia. Yeah, it's he won't, but his abuela will mow people down by the bushels.
Wasn't him, was the abuela. Abuela was fucking those dudes up.
Yeah.
So we'll get into that. All right. So let's
like there's been some rewrite. There's been some obvious rewrites in this thing.
We'll say this right now, as always. If you're watching, that is our non-spoiler reaction to the movie. If you haven't seen the movie and don't want spoilers, then this is where you're going to dip out. If you're watching this at a later date, or whatever, we don't like to lose live viewers. And if you have if you want to, just go watch it, come back later and watch. But before you go, if you haven't yet, hit that subscribe button. Click that bell for notifications so you don't miss us next time we go live. All right. So here we go, guys.
Yeah, here we go.
Time.
All right.
Oh, wait. Before Hassan says, it's good. From a writer's perspective, I couldn't understand the choices they made. From a consumer, it was heartfelt. Okay. Well, we're going to talk about that. I'm not going to say this movie doesn't have a couple weird little flaws in it. But my thing with that is it's a comic book movie. And it feels like a comic book movie from beginning to end. Like right off the bat, the key just being in the lobby of the Cord building is like, I can see people saying, no, that was stupid. But it's a comic book. Like, they would do that in a comic book.
Yeah.
They
didn't know what it was. That's all.
Yeah.
Like that the ant didn't know what it was.
Whatever.
Yeah. So, all right. I am not going to be able to say the star's name.
Solo. It's Solo, right?
Is it?
I'm not sure. Jaime.
So, what?
I'm at Jaime. I don't know how to pronounce
Jaime. Okay, well, yes. So the movie, like I said, this movie, the theme is family through the whole thing. So it starts off, Jaime gets coming off a plane. His family's meeting him because he had just graduated college, getting a pre-law degree.
Did you guys catch where he graduated from?
No.
It was Batman, Gotham City.
Gotham University.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see. The map to great power in the Phantom was in a museum. Comic books. Yeah. See? So that's what Randy's comment. Yeah, Gotham Law. That was the school. Yeah, and it was.
By the way,
like,
it's Zolo Maraduenia. That's his
Solo,
name.
right? That's what I thought. Yeah.
Zolo Maraduenia.
Yeah, I'm not going to touch that.
He's going to have a good career, I think.
He was
amazing.
So well cast in this movie.
He's
I have to say that he is perfect in this movie. But that, like, here's the thing, and I want to point this out, and I think some people might have an issue with this. I don't know. He comes back, and he finds out there's an issue with the family business isn't doing well. They're going to lose their house, and the father had a heart attack, and they didn't tell him all this while he was in school. And like, I know families that do stuff like that because they want him to succeed. They don't want to distract him from his studies, so they don't tell him about the bad stuff going on at home, especially when they go away to school like that.
Yep. There's one thing I really liked about this movie, and I grew up in Elgin, Illinois, right outside Elgin, Illinois, very Hispanic community. I grew up with a lot of Mexicans specifically, and this movie felt like it was created by kids I grew up with. Right, like a lot of the cultural things, and that is
right.
I've known a lot of kids that they just, like, specifically from that background, who just talk about.
This is one of the reasons this movie is doing so well, and why I agree that word of mouth is going to mean that it's going to have a really big second week.
I agree with that. I think beat the first week, but I think it's going to surprise people in the second week, and I think this will have things because of stuff like this. Movie feels like this is, you know, who's great in this movie too is George Lopez.
Oh my
Right?
god!
Oh my god! Yes.
I think he kind of steals the. He kind of reminds me of like, remember Michael Pena was an Ant-Man and he kind of stole every scene, but it was like pure comic relief. This movie, it feels like the uncle is comic relief, but there's a lot of heartfelt stuff too. And when he gives that speech to Jaime about how it's our turn and how we get to have a hero, I was like, dang man, that's awesome. Like, and he's so good in that.
The dynamic that I got was the father was the hardworking one who did everything in his power to get his family together into the United States so they could have a better life, and he was so hardworking that, you know, he had a relationship with his kids, but the uncle was the fun one who did stuff with them.
Yeah,
like you get that dynamic right away too. It works so well.
And that's
George Lopez. George Lopez is a seasoned comedy actor.
Yeah,
He knows when to do the comedy and when to back off and let the seriousness roll in.
Yeah.
He's perfect for this.
He wasn't chewing on the scenery, right? He wasn't trying, because sometimes actors are like comics, like, hey, look at me, like, and he wasn't doing that. Like, he took advantage of his moments, but then like when he had to kind of fade back, he very unapologetically just kind of steps back and lets the drama carry a scene. Like, it's a very great supporting performance. And again, that is something like Mexican families knew a lot of them where the uncle and the grandma lived in the house with them. You know, that's pretty common. And like, those kind of dynamics are real, you know, and like the director, whose name escapes me at the moment, I have to look it up real quick. You know,
the director was Angel Manuel Soto.
Angel. And that's
Angel, sorry.
And it's, but again, this is the kind of guy you need to bring that type of story to the screen and to have that type of authenticity. Like, this was, I don't know, man, like this, you know me, I'm the big character guy. Like, these characters just rang so true, and they really drive a lot of the story. This, I'll be honest with you, the scene where Jaime is gonna die, that from the movie, and he sees his dad and talks to his dad.
Yeah.
I cried, man. And again, since my son has been born, I'm far more apt to weep openly. And the last 7 years have been rough in that aspect. But my dad, I think I mentioned the show, my dad's got terminal cancer right now. So we're going through some stuff. And like seeing this from both a father and a son perspective, it got me, man. It got me right in the feels. Like, and I just loved that sequence where the father says, this is what I'm here for. I'm here to make sure that you're ready to fulfill your destiny. And that is just like the most dad thing I've ever heard in my life. And like, I'm getting choked up now talking about it. Like, it's one of my favorite scenes in a superhero movie ever, because we don't see that stuff.
This movie did not.
Excuse me.
See, here, no, it's okay. I'm not even going through what you're going through, and it got me too. And the thing is, like, this movie did not pull punches. Like, people were dying. There was blood. Like, there were some brutal kills in this. And that's why I say it's schizophrenic, because it looked like it was straddling the line between what the writer originally wanted and what the studio thought should be for a DCU.
Comics.
I know.
Do that. Pick up a comic book. You're going to get that. You're going to get brutality. You're going to get emotional up and beat stuff. Like, comics, the comic book world, especially superhero comics, by their nature, are schizophrenic and kind of all over the place.
Right. So but the thing was, like, the writing was so damn good, and from the top to the bottom, they made sure that Latinx people were involved in every level of this, and it's why I think it feels so authentic, and it's good, you know, for a pasty white Irishman like me. I love this stuff because,
me too.
You know, they should have this moment, because this is a Hispanic character, and he's a great character, man. He's got a great story.
They made an El Chapo in Colorado joke. Like that was the little red grasshopper cartoon thing. That's from a very popular Mexican television show from the 70s and 80s.
It was
like
one of the end credits scene too.
Yeah. And that's like that is a cultural thing. Like they went out of their way to make this feel like, yes, this is the Mexican superhero. Unabashedly. Like, I don't know, man. That kind of stuff really like touched me. And this is also far and away the most like social justice-y superhero movie ever made. Right?
They got it right where when was it Khonshu? Forget what the name of the series was. The Marvel series with Khonshu, Moon Knight. They were aiming for, this is the Egyptian hero and Moon Knight. And it just kind of, yeah, we said that and then we're done. This felt like exactly what you're saying. Like this was owned by them, you know?
Sorry, Dave, we're interrupting you. Continue.
Yes. So what I was going to say was, it's funny because my kids call me Poppy, right? Because it's just something that my wife started when we got married and I had my stepdaughter, and so like right away, like that gives me a hook emotionally into the movie. And then when the scene when they're sitting in the front yard and and they're looking out at the city and he's having a drink and he goes, you just haven't found your purpose yet. And he goes, well, what's yours? And he goes, I don't know. I don't know either. And it's just like, how many times have I felt like that as a father too? Like, I don't know if I'm doing the right thing. I don't know what my purpose is. So it just like, it hit home. It was like such a well-written line, and it doesn't matter. It's one of those things. It doesn't matter if you're, Hispanic or white or black or whatever. Every man who's had a son or a child has felt that way at some point in their life.
Okay.
Great.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's do this. Just consensus. The issue I have with Killing is that the villain received mercy from his death, but the red shirts didn't get a second thought. Why did the suit decide to only consider mercy? I can explain that. So it's not a suit; it's the Scarab. The Scarab is sentient, right? The Scarab has a personality, and when they're going through the thing where he's merging with Jaime, right, and they show the brainwaves are putting like. Jaime takes from the Scarab, and the Scarab also takes from Jaime. So and we see this early on where the suit wants to kill, or the Scarab wants to kill, and Jaime won't let him. The Scarab learns from Jaime, right? That's them becoming simpatico to the point where she has to save, it's Becky G.
It was she, is she?
Yeah. So she has to save him from his rage. And I thought, and that's actually, I took that as character growth from the Scarab itself, because the Scarab itself is a character.
And it learned enough because when they took code from the Scarab, it was also in the system and saw the other guy's history and knew that Jaime wouldn't want to kill somebody like that. Because again, same wavelength, literally at that point.
I love that. I thought that was great. That was great.
So good.
I really, like I said, me character. I just loved all those little character beats. And one thing I dug too was this was unabashedly a DC movie, right? Like they hide the Scarab in a big belly burger wrapper. Like there's Cord Industries, all like is the major thing. They did talk about Dan Garrett, the original Blue Beetle, merging with it. Like they actually followed the content. They did their own things, which is cool, but they actually followed the continuity. There's a LexCorp building behind the Cord Industries building. Like there's all those little things in there, but they didn't like beat you over the head with it. It was the most subtle little Easter eggs in a comic movie we've had in a long, long time. And I really appreciated that.
Yeah. Now,
Randy says LexCorp building across the street.
Yeah.
And also like, they mentioned Flash, Batman, and Superman at different points in the movie.
We just don't know which ones they are.
we're in a lived-in universe, and James Gunn said this is what's really cool is like this movie tonally has a completely different vibe than any of the DCEU movies, right?
Yes.
So I get where James Gunn's coming from on this. And if this is the vibe, and it's actually, now that I'm thinking about it, it's actually a good way to start and reset things, right? To say this is what it's going to be. Because it is different. It looked different too. The color palette of the movie was absolutely beautiful. These neon
was literally
blues
color.
It was bright and brilliant. Yeah.
Yeah, these neon, but it's just like in your face, these neon blues and bright pinks, and then you set up with the villains with like some of the green and the red that really gets popping with OMAC. Like I've never seen a DC movie where color was used so creatively. And like my sense is Miami Vice color palette, absolutely, because like the city's basically Miami, right? The city was pretty, they're in the Keys.
It's your typical DC Comics, like it's
city.
not a real city, but it's
close.
But it's
they say it's the Florida Keys, like you know, they don't even say Florida, but they say Keys, you know, they mean the Florida Keys. So yeah, exactly.
But maybe they don't because it's a DC America, which doesn't quite look the same, you know. Like, but it has that, and it's a little bit more technologically. I'm speaking hard tonight. Advanced civilization than what we currently live in. Like, it felt like. This felt like a DC comic book movie. You know what I'm saying? Like something I think I've struggled with the other DC movies. They never felt like the comics. This felt like a DC comic.
I forgot. So real quick, here are the comments on Twitter from the poll. I just wanted to bring these
Dave,
up.
you're gonna kill me.
No. Listen. Timothy Jones said, "I'm actually reluctant to see it. I've read mixed reviews. The trailer is great, though." Also, George Lopez, which we've already said, George Lopez is great in this.
No, he's
James
perfect.
Gavsey, who has been on this show before, said, saw it last night, absolutely loved it. Randy said, I'm posting this while in line to see it. I reserve the right to change my vote later.
That's a fair
And
vote.
then,
hey, Randy's here. Randy, what'd you think?
And then Victor Bataro said, gee, wonder how many of those 54% actually saw the movie.
That's what I'm saying. I think that I'm honored, man. Our poll got Twitter bombed. That never happened before. Could it be Key City? Like you mean like Keystone City? Like from The Flash? Because they talk about Central City. Oh, Randy says it was awesome. I mean, anyone I think that's actually seen this movie really enjoys it. And I think again, that's what's important. And then am I bold by saying I feel like this is their Iron Man? Like, they're not different they're totally different characters, and it's almost like an anti-Iron Man film. But there's a lot of like nods to Iron Man.
There's
like unabashed nod. They tip the cap quite a few times to Iron Man in this movie.
There's Iron Man nods, but there's also the reluctant hero nods. Like, he doesn't want to be a hero.
Peter Parker.
Peter Parker, exactly.
Mm-hmm. He's always been Jaime's always been DC's Peter Parker. That was the goal when Keith Giffen created him.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it has all of these Marvel elements in it that work. Yeah, like it was so good.
And just to mention something that Kassan said, Zolo, he's in Cobra Kai. So like,
yes.
you know, and people love him there too. So he's like the heart and soul of Cobra Kai, from what I've been told by many people. I haven't watched Cobra Kai myself, but everybody tells me says that he's like, you know.
I love Karate Kid. I've never seen Cobra Kai. Isn't that weird? Continue.
Yeah.
Let me ask a question here. Because I know my answer is yes, 100%. I never really read a lot of Blue Beetle comics, especially the newer ones. So I was completely blank going into this. So I didn't care if they changed stuff from the history or whatnot. Like, the movie works as a movie. Do you guys feel the same way? Like, you don't have an attachment to this character so you could enjoy it more?
I kind of do, because the bromance between Ted Kord and Booster Gold is like epic in the DC universe, which is why, I mean, again, we're into spoiler territory. At the end, when like the computer's on and he's like, I'm still alive. Yeah. You know where he is? He got Booster Gold, like, shot them into the future or something, you know, and they're trying to find their way back. That's what happened. It's Booster Gold's fault.
That's exactly what I thought too.
But then, you know, the character of Jaime, like, he's been in Young Justice and a few other things. He's been around, and yeah, his character has been compelling no matter where I've seen him. So I've got some attachment to it. Not as much attachment as like to all the other all the other main superheroes and all that. But he's made the rounds, and I've never seen a bad reception for him.
No, I like Blue Beetle too. Young Justice is a really good interpretation. He did a Smallville episode. He's popped in here and there with a lot of stuff. And I remember he showed up right around Infinite Crisis, right? Because Ted Kord dies. The aforementioned Max Lord shoots Ted Kord in the head in the OMAC project, actually.
Oh,
So,
fun.
yes.
Oh.
So fun time to be a DC fan, actually.
Oh,
So,
okay.
yeah, so Ted Kord, I think Ted's alive again, but I think when the universe is rebooted, Ted came back, but Jaime's still around. I as a DC fan, when she takes him into his workshop and they explain that Blue Beetle was Batman with a sense of humor, I was like, yes, that's Blue Beetle, that's Ted Kord, and they got him the Bug. And I was just like, the Bug, man, that's Ted Kord's Bug. It's just stuff I never like. Again, as a DC fan, I have like unabashed love for the DC universe. I was so happy to see this stuff.
And there's the connection to what's his face? Damn it, I am really blanking right now. The offshoot of the DC universe with Dr. Manhattan and all that.
Watchmen,
right?
he's yeah.
Yeah, so the Beetle should look really familiar to you.
Night Owl, yeah, because Night Owl is the Watchmen version of Blue Beetle.
Yeah, he was that was the character they were going to use until what's his face was told no.
No, it wasn't told more. Well, he was told more. Alan Moore was told no.
Alan Moore was told no. They couldn't use the original characters. Yeah,
and then realized that if he just used pastiches of them, he could actually do more. So
Right.
that's why you don't have the Question, you have Rorschach, and Rorschach becomes a much different character than the Question. Same, we don't have to deal with the fact with Ted Kord can't get a boner. Like, it's fine if Night Owl can't get it up, whatever,
right.
you know.
But that's Blue Beetle, right? But
That's a plot point.
but the Bug looked exactly
Blue
the same,
Beetle, yeah.
basically in the movie.
It did.
Kassan,
go ahead. Dave.
Yeah, go ahead. You read it.
Kassan, one small thing: the Scarab rebooting should have been a Chekhov's gun. We should have seen it before. The cold usage felt weak, like the writers needed a reason to stall Jamie and force him to run. Yeah, I agree with that. I realized it too when it was happening. It didn't bug me, but I did go, of course.
It didn't bug you.
It's one of those things. Okay, so
bug! Hey!
So
Cheap
real
shot.
quick, it's in the climax of the movie near the end. It's the big fight at the bad guy's lair, which I loved. I loved the whole idea. Like, they had their
Me
own
too.
island, so there's no worry about collateral damage or any of that BS. But also,
There was collateral damage, though.
it's one of those old tropes where the hero loses his powers.
It is.
Well, yeah, but it made sense because they
And the whole, like, to me, I felt
overloaded
like
it.
that was the whole point. It's showing that he's a hero even without the costume.
Which
like,
is
he's
why you
going
do
to
it.
go save his family. What?
It's why you do it. It's a trope, but it
Yeah,
works. It's an
well,
effective
it
trope.
may be a trope, but it didn't feel like it was just done just for the trope, though. Like, it was the storyline. They hooked him up to a machine. They hacked into it, and they started copying all the code, and they like turned him off for a bit, right? They were repressing the Scarab, so
I mean,
it kind of made sense. It was part of the storyline. It
I'll
wasn't
say
done
this.
completely cheaply.
I will say
like
that
good.
that's a thread that if you start pulling on it, it does kind of like maybe fall apart a little bit. Like, this world-destroying weapon is so powerful. How were they able to tap into it and copy its code when Ted Kord could never figure out, like, never bonded with it, and like so made his own stuff so he could be Blue Beetle? Like, yeah, it just seemed like to me
They were studying it. I mean, like, again, it's a comic book thing, doesn't bother me too much, but I mean, like, I can't say the criticism is valid. I think the scene, what they wanted from the scene, and this is like hierarchy of needs, is what's more important to you, the character moments and the themes that are presented, or, you know, some vampire logic. You know, I think that what they wanted to do is they wanted to have the family have their hero moment, because that's what the theme of the movie is: the family, and the family is
Yes.
completely outgunned, and they go to save him. Or we
Right.
thought they were outgunned. It turned
Except
out
for the
Grandma,
abuela, she's
yeah,
not outgunned
Nana might
at
have
all.
been a Sandinista. It turns out. Not true. The Scarab joined Jamie or Jaime during the time he was hooked to the machine, so the Scarab was active. Yeah, the Scarab was active in the thing, so they were learning how it was being used. I don't know,
Yeah,
like,
but on a subconscious level, it wasn't physically active at that point. It may have mentally been active, but
reverse
they
the
had,
polarity, man. It's science fiction.
right.
Logic.
I mean, there are things
Cross
I
the
go to bat
streams.
for. That
Yeah,
was
you
comic
cross
book
the
logic, and that's fine. But it still
88
had
miles per hour.
Yeah, but it still had a logical reason. It wasn't just, he booted up in 3 seconds here, but in here it took him 2 minutes because he was running away. It wasn't like that. So it had a kind of logical reason.
Sorry.
It's till they made
How
their
about it?
rules. Until they break their own rules, I'm fine with it.
JD, I'm sorry. You said it. I gotta say this. 88 miles an hour. Did you know that a stock DeLorean from the 80s couldn't go up to 88 miles an hour?
No, I did not know that. Is that a gag?
That's hilarious.
I don't know.
Was that
Did
put in
they-
the movie as a gag? I
don't know.
Because
They I can't remember what show I was watching where they were talking about it, and they everyone that's a DeLorean enthusiast laughs at that because they know that that stock DeLorean couldn't have been able to go up that fast.
So am I the only person that looks at a normal DeLorean? First of all, every time we see a DeLorean, you go, hey, a DeLorean. But am I the only person that looks at a DeLorean and sees the back and was like, that doesn't look right to me without the extra stuff?
Right? No, yeah, I don't. Yeah, without the Mr. Fusion attached.
Yeah, without Mr. Fusion attached, it doesn't look right. Randy said, "Space wizards with laser swords." I go back. How do you kill a vampire?
Yeah.
Should we start talking about we there's plenty of this movie to praise, but again, we're looking at a lot of really nice Christmas lights and additions to this framework that is just basic standard superhero movie. They
So
both have
what?
the same powers. He doesn't want to be it's a kid who gains superpowers and doesn't want to be a superhero. He goes through the exact 3-act, I don't want to, I come to terms with it, I
John,
decide I'm going to be it.
John,
It's like
every movie is with 3-act structure.
well, I know.
Writers
I
are
know.
taught to write to 3-act structure.
Okay.
I get it.
Tropes work because they work.
I get it. But having the same powers. For
But
the
okay,
bad
when
guy.
have they done that in a DC movie?
What in a DC movie?
When have they done it in a DC movie?
That's true.
But
then,
Man
then,
of Steel.
Man, I tell you what, man.
Man of Steel and Wonder Woman because
so it's been a decade. Well, no, he's not even the villain of the Wonder Woman. We don't see him till the end of the movie.
they're both.
You know what I
gods,
really
though,
hate?
apparently.
You know what I really hate when I watch a cowboy movie and there's all these horses all over the place. Like, come on, man! Can we have these cowboys driving cars? Why can't they ride a scooter? We watch these gangster movies, and I'm like, where are the fucking robots, man? I want some robots in my Chicago 1920s gangster movie.
I know, but
I watch Star Trek, and I'm really bothered that no one's selling cocaine on the bridge.
I know, I get it, but again, like the bad
so you
guy.
want the Quentin Tarantino Star Trek movie?
That's what happened to Quentin Tarantino. Let's be real.
Okay,
they've been doing.
But seriously, they had Susan Sarandon, who
chewing scenery left and right.
Who gave it her all. Yeah, who gave it her all. But she's still like the exact same DC bad guy. What are you making? I'm making military suits. Just like every other bad guy in Marvel and whatever. But using whatever the tech of the day is. Like
okay,
let
me throw this at you. Let me throw this concept at you. One, these movies are what they are because they work. Right? When we've tried, DC has not made it work. So what is wrong with the back to basics approach when you have struggled to get out of the gates? We just sat through a movie where a guy pulls multi-universes together to try to unravel some nonsensical plot. What's wrong with sitting there and saying, okay, this shit works?
Well, no. I like, again, there's so much to praise about this movie, and it's really saved by a lot of the writing and the actors and the portrayal of the family and all.
Doesn't matter. That's like I've
Well,
said this again and again. Plot is irrelevant. If the plot is semi-coherent and makes some sense, character moments carry you through. People care about characters.
But as reviewers, we would be remiss to point out that this does follow the paint by numbers.
So what? I mean, like paint by numbers takes you pretty pictures. It's great. It's great for establishing, right? Like they haven't done it. They took the Marvel formula.
Yeah.
They haven't used the Marvel.
They did.
Marvel
Exactly. It
hasn't
was the
used
exact
the
Marvel formula.
But when is the
they
last
even had a
time
sky
Marvel-
beam? I mean, like
that's a DC form, I think, the sky beam. But I mean, like, here I had a point.
Yeah, Marvel hasn't used the Marvel.
When has
formula in
Marvel
the last,
used it?
like the last I want to say 4 years, and it's like and
Even longer. Have they done a Marvel formula movie since Endgame?
wait,
wow,
when
we
was
have to really
Endgame?
think about it. Then I guess
2018.
Oh my god, it's been
Wow.
5 years since Endgame.
Yeah.
That's a shame.
But that's the thing, is like it hasn't been done in a while. Like I said, like on the ranks, so the question is, what do you want instead? That's a great call. Like I want vampires in my romance story. Oh God, people actually did that. I take that one back. Like,
Even Love and Thunder. Love and Thunder didn't
Sucked.
have it sucked, but at least it didn't have a bad guy.
And that's
with
the whole
exact
thing.
same
Everyone
powers.
has said that the movies haven't worked since the end of
But
Endgame.
you can't blame that on what the antagonist was. It was. I'm just saying. I'm only pointing
No,
it out.
but
Like I said, we would be remiss as reviewers if we didn't point that out.
But
That the movie succeeds even aside from that, right?
and again, I say this as a guy who has writing, and they tell you writers are told to write to tropes because tropes work. Right? You want the Kassan says point by numbers doesn't guarantee pretty picture. The acting, the plot, and the paint elements of the colors are brought. That's true. But if you, in theory, if you follow the paint by numbers, it will work.
Especially when you use colors like this movie did.
That's a good point. But I mean, like we've seen it work not as good as this. This movie's better than Doctor Strange.
Yes.
Right? This movie's better than a lot of the Marvel movies. But it's got a lot of bad faith actors, and it's got a lot of baggage to go up against.
Doctor
it's
Strange
not
was
gonna
pretty
have-
good, though.
It was pretty good. I like Doctor Strange. This was better.
Do you
This is a
think
more relatable hero. This is a more
It
more
was,
relatable hero on a more understandable journey that didn't
Yes.
whitewash
Do
things.
you think Black Adam, Fury of the Gods, and Flash, the decline from those movies is also what's hurting this movie?
100%.
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
Yeah.
The DC people have no faith in the DC brand and
Right,
haven't
that's-
for a long time.
That's why word of mouth is going to help it on the second week.
People assumed another DC because I don't think this is a controversial statement. I think putting that DC logo in front of Blue Beetle hurts it.
Yeah. What if they put the Charlton logo?
That wouldn't help it either. They should have just done Warner Brothers.
I have to say, quite literally, when I was at the grocery store this morning, I told Dave this story that some guy in front of me couldn't pay for all his groceries, so I just told them I'd pay for them.
That was very
This
kind
guy
of you.
was a fixed income guy, but apparently that gave the cashier the idea that it would be good to talk to me, the introvert. But he meant, because this is a good guy. I'll talk to him. I'm like, I'm an introvert. I just did a good
Stop
thing. Just leave
talking to
alone."
me.
Right. But the thing was, they started talking about, see any good movies? I'm like, oh yeah, I just saw Blue Beetle, and there you go. There's your word of mouth. Like I told him, it was way better than I thought. You should go see it. So it's going to happen that the word of mouth is going to travel with this movie because people are going to be surprised, and that's going to give them cause to talk about it.
Drew, go see it. You're gonna like it. I know
Put
you.
the Scorpions down and go see it.
Scarab. You want scarabs, not scorpions.
Yes.
Beetles. They're beetles, not scorpions. Beetles. She loves you. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Not rock you like a hurricane.
Oh God.
Oh,
All right.
We had to
Winds of
search for that.
change.
Okay,
I searched in my wonderful brain.
I'm going to ask JD this.
Oh yes, I love it.
Besides, the paint by numbers issue, is there anything in the movie though that you didn't like? In all honesty,
Susan Sarandon's very cardboard.
Why would you waste Susan Sarandon, for crying out loud?
Controversial thought. She's super overrated.
She's. I won't go as far as say that, but she is very mustache twirly villain in this.
She
Yeah.
can be, yeah.
Because like
I
the
get
Marvel, like the first couple Marvel movies, it's not about the villains. Sometimes in these super, and this is something I think Kevin Feige recognized early on. Very often, remember when the Batman '89 came out? What was everybody talking about?
Oh, the Joker.
The Joker.
When the Dark Knight came out, what did everybody talk about?
The Joker.
The Joker.
The villains.
When the Joker came out, what did?
There you go. Shockingly, not Robert De Niro because they stole the king of comedy. I think that Kevin Feige specifically realized that a lot of times villains can overshadow heroes. So
because they're more fun to play.
They are more fun to
Look
play,
at
and
Loki.
oftentimes, but that's oftentimes too. Loki overshadowed, like Tom Hiddleston, way overshadows Chris Hemsworth in the first Thor movie.
Yeah,
right. Like, so I think it's a good idea when starting off with a hero to go on a little bit more understated with the villain while building, right? Because it should be the hero's journey. And the original Batman's very much not the hero's journey. It's the Joker's origin story. It's the Joker's story, right?
Yes.
The Joker's the story driver of the whole thing. It's not Batman. Batman's kind of a passenger in that movie.
Well, that's because the director
Tim Burton is Tim Burton. What are you gonna do?
And Tim Burton said that he found the villain more interesting.
Well, because he's Tim Burton.
He's Tim Burton.
Yeah.
But that's what I'm saying. But that's not the first time that's happened, and it's happened repeatedly in movies. So I think the Marvel method is to downplay the villains right away. Like even Batman Begins, we get Ra's al Ghul, however you pronounce it, right?
Ra's al Ghul. Yeah.
It's actually, I mean, they say Raz in the movie, and there's debate.
It's Raish, but it's
but anyone of Middle Eastern descent will tell you it's Raz. So I don't know. That's not neither here nor there. But neither him nor Scarecrow drive that movie. Batman drives that movie. So I think that's while she's mustache twirling, I think it was a necessity of the movie because it had to be about Jaime. Like if you casted, like say George Lopez to play the villain of the movie, he's going to eat up the scenery.
Yeah. So here's San says the red suit villain Omak was almost as pivotal as Jaime. His backstory was tragic, and his arc was as strong as a strong hero's arc. And here's the thing with that.
It parallels Jaime's, and because he doesn't have that foundation, and him being Latin too is a great choice. Like the fact that he has that tragic background where Jaime doesn't have that background. You see this shift, and they're both had that moment where like this is what I could be if it was different.
And here's the thing: like you could have made a compelling movie if you paralleled those two characters through the whole thing, but we don't get his story until the flashback at the end of the movie. And I think that's key because what you just said, it would have overshadowed Jaime, and we don't want that.
Correct.
So we just get the flashback at the end. We get his story real quick. And I mean, it's funny, like, and then he makes the ultimate sacrifice at the end and
does the right thing.
The island, he destroys her, and he does the right thing.
And can we also like mention, seeing as how we're talking about destruction, mass destruction and violence, there was some really nice blood splatter in this. Not really red, even though they had this nice color palette, but it was just slightly more than implied. Yeah, Sanchez, like that, and Granny with the Gatling gun, for crying out, the Vulcan. There were people dying in this left and right. I was really surprised about some of the, like when the bug turned into the ambulatory like mobile mode, and it just one of the feet just steps right through a guy and impales him completely. And by impale, I mean having like basically a 4x4 driven through his sternum. Like this was, they didn't hold back in this.
And George Lopez makes it, like Rudy makes a joke, oh, I stepped on him. But at the same time, those are the same people that gunned down their family. And like, boy, what a
True.
There was a lot of not so subtle social commentary in large chunks of this movie. Like when the profiteers, I'll say as kindly not to say contractors, Blackwater style, take down their house. I mean, that's like, There's a lot going on there, man. Which this is not the show to talk about that stuff, but this was unabashedly, where your hero is the son of illegal aliens, right? I'm amazed that stuff isn't getting more attention.
Right.
And I'm a fan of it.
The father and the grandmother were both illegal aliens. He mentioned it when they come, they're going to look at you two, right? They explored all aspects of this for people that are right now in this country being harassed for no reason.
As I said, it was unabashedly what it is, know, and they didn't hide. And then your villain being from the School of the Americas.
Oh God. Yeah. Openly racist.
This movie needed to be made by the people that made it to tell this story. And it was very brave in a lot of those ways in its social commentary. I really appreciate it.
And that's going to carry it. It gives this thing a ring of truth and a depth that you don't see normally.
Mark says Jaime doesn't kill, but his family, on the other hand, kills everybody.
Well, they killed his father, right?
They did. They killed his father, and they're torturing their son or their brother and their nephew. They were torturing Jaime, so they were like, "Fuck this shit!"
Right.
And also, definitely
your family's in trouble. What are you going to do?
You also have a feeling the grandmother has a history with.
Yeah, that was implied.
This might not be the first time Nana has operated a large
machine gun
firing weapon.
a Vulcan, right?
So, and it's funny because I guarantee that everyone has a family member that they don't know the history of.
My grandfather was in I'm Irish. My grandfather was in the IRA. He was in a 3-man team. They'd go from rooftop to rooftop. One held the sniper rifle, one held the binoculars, and one held the grenades. So everybody, if you go further back in your family, you're going to find one of those.
I had an uncle who was in Korea and was on a tour in a helicopter. It was showing a statesman around their base, and they were flying a helicopter. He got shot down over enemy territory, and the pilot died. He got this statesman out back into out of enemy territory, and it took him 3 days, and they could only move at night. Like he went through, and you would never expect this. He's a very subtle, quiet person now. Well, actually, he passed away, but he was always a subtle, quiet person. You would never expect.
My grandfather talked about killing civilians during World War II, and he had this basically deathbed confession where they busted, the battalion busted down a church, and they opened fire thinking the enemy was there, and it wound up being a bunch of civilians. And he had he said, I was drunk for the next week every day. And then he basically talked about that just before he died,
right?
Clearing the conscience. So and there's every family has a story. Let's steer this back. Kassan says, going back to OMAC, if they did as Dave suggested, we could have had Darth Vader's sacrifice scene. I would have loved to see that version of the movie. No.
Well, it depends. Would Jaime have had the high ground?
Good night, Drew.
I saw a meme with Obi-Wan Kenobi. It said high grounder, and he was remade to look like Highlander, and Anakin looked like the Kurgan. That cracked me up. Good night, y'all. Stay true.
I'm trying to think if Mark's comment is he's saying it doesn't work because the family kills everyone, but the hero doesn't, and it's I don't know. I don't think that's
You can make that argument. When it comes to that kind of stuff, when it comes to morality things, it's in the eye of the beholder. It didn't bother me, but again, when you don't personify the people you're killing, it's hard to grow attachment to them. And when they're contractors, I don't have attachment to them anyway because that's what they do. They're paid to kill and die. So
yeah. And I don't know. My argument, as long as they're showing that the hero is not willing to kill, that works for me, because you would kind of think in the next movie that they're not going to lean as much as on the family, or if he's on a team movie, or if they do a Booster Gold Blue Beetle team up, and he's in that or something. You know.
I don't know what they're going to do next time around. I'm very curious. I
mean,
guess it's
if
going to
this,
depend on how the next couple weeks play out.
if this does well, I mean, they portrayed him as like in his 20s though, so like they can't put him in a Young Justice kind of vehicle.
Could.
But,
I mean, think about it, right? He's college graduate, so he's what, 21, 22?
22 is what he said in the movie.
Yeah. So.
Oh, put him up with Static Shock and you know, a couple of the others. You know, there you go. There's your Impulse. There's where you bring Impulse in and a few others.
There you go. You could do that. So
a Young Justice movie would be kind of fun. You know?
The one character we didn't talk about was Jenny Cord. I like.
She was there.
She was there. Do you feel that the relationship was forced?
No, I didn't feel forced. No, it's not this. I mean, like I like that she was Cord, right? I thought that worked well for the movie because I think she helps. She's the tie to the previous Blue Beetle,
right?
You know, so I think it functions in the same way. Okay. It's got a similar function to Hope Van Dyne and Scott Lang.
Yeah.
Right. She's the tether that gets them to. It's not a strength of the movie, but I liked her character arc, and I think the two of them had pretty good chemistry. So while it's not my favorite aspect of the movie, it doesn't bother me. She's there.
It didn't seem it didn't seem completely superfluous, right? It was. I mean, there was chemistry between them, so I feel like it wasn't like just completely tacked on, and you could go somewhere in the next movie if they make it, you know.
All right. I mean, I didn't have an issue with it either, but I'm just trying to think that 54%, like,
it's not real, Dave.
I know. It's like the whole idea of like saying it's terrible, like, well, like I will say
Snyder bots.
Oh no! Okay, let's look at this. This movie is the polar opposite of a Snyder film.
Yeah, it is really. There's too much color.
From the art direction, right? From the style, from the tone, from everything
the lack
about
of people sniffing somebody's sweater while singing.
Yeah, that's the thing too. Like this movie is very much, and they want all of it to fail, and most of them aren't even real people. A lot of them are bots.
Yeah.
Right. So are there people that don't like this movie? Sure. Yeah, of course. Things are things. But look at the audience score.
Yeah.
Right. The audience score is 92%. That is not reflective in a Twitter poll. Why is that?
That's my question too. Yeah.
Because it's not real. These Twitter polls and stuff like that, they get hijacked by bots, specifically Snyder. Right. That dude is suspect. We read that article a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
About that whole thing, right? And like his people too are part of our engaging in like a shadow campaign to make sure all of this stuff fails.
But it just bugs me because it's like, what's the point at this point? Like, it's done,
Patty?
it's gone. They're never going to bring you back and reboot the Snyderverse. So give up. Like,
if they had never relented and never gave us Zack Snyder's Justice League, I would have agreed with you. But they relented, and they're going to give us David Ayer's shittier version of Suicide Squad eventually, right?
Yeah.
So Warner makes mistakes of empowering these people, so they think they have a voice.
Kassan did say something here. The third mannequin.
I have no idea.
To suggest, is she going to become another Blue Beetle? I think it suggests that's the costume he's currently wearing wherever he's at. That was my takeaway.
Yeah, I'll go with that. I don't know. Yeah, okay. I got nothing. I wanted to do the same thing.
So, all right. Well, all right. I don't have anything else to say about this movie. I mean, yes, it's about family. People. Okay, I will say this. People complained online about, oh, he's not in it for like, or he's sidelined in the movie, but like that strengthens the family thing.
He's literally captured. He's totally sidelined.
Well, he's captured, but it's not. Yeah, I mean, they're sidelined and they're sidelined is when Black Panther was.
It's the whole darkest
off the water.
It's the whole darkest point of the movie, kind of thing. He gets captured. The father has the heart attack and dies. The house burns down. It's
But
all
this-
dark.
And this is where they zagged instead of zigged in terms of obeying a trope of a film. Usually it would have been the family that gets kidnapped and he has
Uh-huh.
to
Right.
rebound and save them. And they flipped it around this time and made it differently because it would have made way more sense this way.
Yes.
Well, it's also like highlighting the family dynamic that the thing that gave this movie the heart it has.
Right.
You know, that the family is willing to do anything for each other.
Like that's my whole thing is like people were complaining about that. And I'm like, no, it's
why?
You're missing the point of the movie. The movie's about family. The family
Because they don't
saves
want to
him,
like it.
and then he comes back and saves them at that's the whole thing. Like
Yeah. It's a
You
team
know?
movie, really. It's like The Incredibles, but not everybody has powers.
Right.
Which we
Exactly.
haven't seen before. There was not a Marvel movie that had this strength of like this theme specifically of this family where the family is going to do this and the family is going to save the day. Like,
Right.
so that in itself like makes it unique. Like I said, you take a trope that works and then you put your own spin on it. That's how you know you've got something. And that's what I think personally, that's what they did here.
Yes. The grappling book thing bothered me. It means grappling hook. During the time the Scarab acted on her own accord, but she didn't do anything except suggest to live.
Well, because they're trying to protect
to
the
flee,
host.
to flee. I'm sorry.
Yeah, protect the host.
Yeah, I don't know. Like the grappling hook thing again. Like I said, like they figured out how to neutralize it, I guess, at some point. But I will say then, like, why didn't they have that right away? Why wasn't that built into the Red Man's armor, right away? So
Well, they couldn't build it into his armor. It was too big.
It was the size of the OMAC.
yeah. So
I don't know. They created an ultimate nullifier and it worked for a little bit. That doesn't matter.
yeah, it's a comic book trope. Yeah.
Right. Still, well
there you
worth
go.
seeing.
Because there was only one. There you go, Randy. Good answer.
Much like the Highlander.
Yeah.
The grappling hook came from the Reach. Oh, maybe. Who knows?
Oh, maybe we're gonna get. I imagine we get the Reach in the second movie, and I'm glad we didn't get there. So this is the movie. I figured this out. This is the movie that Green Lantern should have been. And I wanted a Green Lantern movie in space. But they didn't give us it. They gave us a Green Lantern movie on Earth. This was that movie. How that movie should have been done.
Yes. Yeah. Agreed.
And if they decide to use this as a jumping off point, like if they decide to include this in a new DCU, not DCEU, but DCU, then the Reach is a really nice first big bad.
It's true. That's true. And it hasn't been used yet.
Yep. And yet they are a power in the universe. I mean, just some background, like in the comics, the Reach are so powerful that they fought the entire Green Lantern Corps to a standstill and have an agreement with them.
So they're gonna do the quickening on Colt 45 soon. I highly recommend that. It's a piece of shit movie.
Oh God, Highlander 2? Oh God,
Yeah.
Highlander 2.
That
Oh my
should be
God.
interesting. All right. Yeah, I do. Here's. I think we need to wrap this up a little bit, but I do wish more people go out and see it. I do think the Snyder Box.
I don't think that's bad writing though. Like, because you didn't put up a comic book tropes can't be an excuse for bad writing. The movie is on 8.5. Could have been an easy 9. I mean, like, it's
an 8.5 is still good.
An 8.5 is great. So I mean, like, it's like it's a nitpick. Like, well, this one piece of technology can't exist, but this other technology can. Like, I don't know. They follow the rules of their own universe. Like,
you sound like Wall Street. It's like this company made so much more profit this year, but they didn't make as much as we said. It's like you still made a huge profit. Like this movie still did. I mean, it's still an 8.5.
All right. Well, let's on that
compared to the rest.
Since we got Kassan's grade, let's go around the room. Give a score and our final thoughts on this movie. And JD, since you're giving the gang hand signs, you can go first.
What the hell is that?
It's a 9.
Is that a 9? 9.
Bring a 9.
It's either that or the Crips. I don't know. What is this?
Well, that's a
And
crypt.
he
It makes C's.
and he
You used to
any
be able to do the
final
blood
thoughts?
with my hand. I love it. I absolutely love it. Like the mechanics of how the tech works aside, that is, for me, that's just not important. For me, what matters is the character development and the character relationships and how those played out in the movie and what they meant to the film. And that is so strong in this movie. It is easily the best DC film since The Dark Knight, and it is my favorite superhero movie since Avengers Endgame. And I've been so burnt out on superhero stuff over the last year. And this
Yeah.
is the heart. This movie has the heart that the Marvel movies used to have.
All right. Johnny boy.
I'm giving it an 8.5. 8.5 scarabs from the mummy burrowing into your body. It's
You.
it's it was way better than I thought. I had a lot of fun watching this movie. I really did, and I would not mind at all if they decided this is the first DCU movie, and that they
Oh yeah,
continue
yeah.
on from here. and use
I like this movie way more than the Batman.
Yeah, yeah, it was way better than the Batman. So, and the Batman was good, but still.
So the Across the Spider-Verse is great. That's an animated thing, and in my segmented brain, animated movies and live action movies must be kept in separate spaces. Perhaps that makes me a dumb person, but that's just how my brain operates.
I'd say the writing was even better on Across the Spider-Verse, but the writing in this far out trumps anything that DC has put out not of late, of just basically ever. So yeah, this is it made me feel feels. I shed tears. Like didn't expect the father to die. I thought the old trope of, the whole family is going to be indestructible. The whole thing. Didn't expect they raised that alone raised the stakes.
Instead, they steered into the trope of the parent dying.
Yeah, well,
but it did have stakes though. It did have stakes. I should have said that earlier, John. That's a good call. It had stakes.
Yeah, which you don't normally get. And also one other thing about DC comparatively, this movie showed you the interaction of the hero with normal people.
Yes.
Right? Normally, all the other DC movies have been like gods among high, and it's all been interactions with themselves, not their interaction with the public and them trying to, deal with that. So yeah, 8.5, and it's definitely a must see for me.
All right. I will second JD's score of a 9. I think this was the best superhero movie of 2023, definitely. Probably since Endgame. I have to rethink about that, but possibly. I don't know. No Way Home was in there. I like No Way Home.
I like No Way Home, but I think No Way Home only works if you have the baggage of the other Spider-Man films attached to it.
Yeah.
Which is not a default, it's a feature, but I find like this one and I love No Way Home. Right? No Way, that's like this is 1A, I love No Way Home, but that I did like this one.
All right. For the last time, I don't hate Gwen Stacy. I hate Spider-Gwen. They are two completely different characters.
Can't say.
And I'm going to say...
Be honest, you cheered when she died in Spider-Man 2. Amazing Spider-Man 2.
No. I'm also going to say...
Dave hates the Gwen with personality.
Right. Yeah,
the original Gwen Stacy just bitched about Peter. Where's Peter? Why isn't Peter here? God, she's such a beautiful character.
I'm also going to say, don't let the Snyder bots win. Go see this movie. All right. There we go. Let's wrap this one. Let's bring this one home. Let's go around the room and let us know. Did you learn anything this week on the podcast, or do you have any recommendations? And John, you can go first.
Again, I don't know what to say when you ask what I've learned. I haven't learned really. I'm old. You can't teach an old dog new tricks unless it's in code. I'll learn any language on the planet. As far as books are like anime is concerned, okay, I got really, what do you call it? Like, I got really like surprised by Reincarnated as a Vending Machine. No, trust me, I know you're laughing at me right now when I'm suggesting go watch Reincarnated as a Vending Machine. Surprisingly, way more fun than it's not supposed to be deep. It's not supposed to be like epic, but it's just way more interesting and fun than I still can't understand why, but it just is. So there you go. There's an anime recommendation for you.
All right, JD.
I ain't learned shit. Trying to think of what I'm reading. Doctor Sleep currently. I've never actually read the book. Love the movie.
Oh wow.
It's a great book. I'll probably recommend that more next week when I finish it. I'd recommend going back to school because I'm in school right now and I'm teaching, and that's where my brain is at. So yeah, go see Spider-Man. Yeah, go see Spider-Man. It's just Across the Spider-Verse is out there. Go see Spider-Man, but also go see Blue Beetle.
All right.
Definitely.
I learned.
Oh, go see Last of the Demeter too. Let's Watch the Demeter. That's a great movie.
I keep hearing that.
It's getting killed at the box office. It's getting killed at the box office. Should have been an October release, not a summer release. But
I
really
haven't seen one bad review of it.
Sounds like Blue Beetle. All right. I learned that the Snyder bots are still out there and they're still strong. I also learned that JD looks better with his glasses on.
Yeah, I would wear my keep hitting the mic. I would wear my glasses.
That's funny. You look better with my glasses off.
Ring light. See what you did there, sir. I don't have the light spray on there, so I'm not getting.
Okay.
No, the ring light is weird.
All right, but I recommend. I don't have any recommendations this week. Go see this movie. Go see Blue Beetle. It's good. It's a shame that more people have not seen it yet, but I do think John's right. Word of mouth is going to spread, and they should. They'll do better next weekend. And also, I recommend that you go to superheroespeak.com where you can find the podcast every week. Links to all our social media at the top of the page. Comic book reviews by our good friend Chris, and so much more. Also, if you're watching this after the fact and you're not subscribed, click that subscribe button, click that bell for notifications, give us a like, give us a comment, help us out on the algorithm. We want to reach more people because we have egos. All right. On that note, boys and girls, as always, thanks for watching. Don't let your cape get caught in the